300,000 Soviet soldiers surrounded and captured in a single operation. This wasn't just a military victory, it was a masterclass in armored warfare, orchestrated by Hermann Hoth during the early stages of Operation Barbarossa. However, his military successes were intertwined with the darker aspects of Nazi Germany's policies. In today's video, we'll explore the complex legacy of Hoth, a man whose tactical brilliance was matched by his involvement in some of the war's most brutal actions. Hoth emerged as a key figure in shaping German military tactics before World War II. He recognized the potential of mechanized warfare earlier than many of his contemporaries, envisioning a mobile force that combined tanks, motorized infantry, and close air support. Hoth's ideas centered on the concentration of force, arguing that massed armor could breach enemy lines and exploit the resulting gaps. He emphasized close coordination between armored units, infantry, and the Luftwaffe to maintain momentum and prevent enemy counterattacks. Those concepts formed the foundation of what would become known as blitzkrieg tactics. Hoth's contributions extended beyond theory. He played a crucial role in training and organizing Germany's Panzer divisions. He implemented rigorous exercises that honed the skills necessary for rapid, coordinated advances across varied terrain. The impact of these new tactics became evident in the early campaigns of World War II. The speed and power of the Panzer divisions caught Germany's opponents off guard, often leaving them unable to mount effective defenses. Blitzkrieg allowed the German army to achieve strategic surprise and operational victories that far outweighed their numerical strength. Hoth's theories faced their first major test during the invasion of Poland in September 1939. As commander of the 15th Motorized Corps, he led his forces in a rapid advance that contributed significantly to the encirclement and defeat of the Polish army. The success of Blitzkrieg tactics in Poland exceeded German expectations, with the country conquered in just over a month. The triumph in Poland validated Hoth's ideas and set the stage for more ambitious operations. The upcoming campaign in France would prove to be the ultimate test of blitzkrieg warfare. As the German offensive turned towards France, the speed of the advance was unprecedented. His forces were among the first to cross the Meuse River, securing crucial bridgeheads on May 12 to 13, 1940. This early success allowed for quick advances into French territory, leaving defenders scrambling to respond. However, the campaign also faced some challenges, including resistance from the French 102nd Fortress Division and unexpected counterattacks from the British Expeditionary Force near Arras on May 21st. These actions temporarily slowed Hoth's progress. Despite the setbacks, Hoth's decisions at key moments proved decisive. He consistently prioritized maintaining momentum and exploiting weaknesses in enemy lines. By May 14th to 15th, his forces had broken through and were pushing into the French Ninth Army's left flank. As the campaign reached its climax, Hoth's corps played a crucial role in the significant operation. On May 27, 1940, his forces broke through the defensive line at La Bassée Canal, contributing to the encirclement of Allied forces at Dunkirk. This maneuver trapped hundreds of thousands of British and French troops, leading to the famous evacuation by sea. While Hoth's military achievements in France were undeniable, they came with ethical concerns. Reports emerged of units under his command executing French prisoners, including colonial soldiers. These actions raised serious questions about the conduct of German forces during the campaign. As Operation Barbarossa began, Hermann Hoth took command of a formidable force of 626 tanks and multiple divisions. The initial stages of the invasion saw Hoth's forces achieve significant victories, capturing Vitebsk and securing crucial river crossings. These early successes contributed to the encirclement of 3 Soviet armies. However, the realities of warfare in the Soviet Union soon challenged Hoth's tactics. The vast distances posed significant logistical problems, with advancing forces outpacing their supply lines and relying on captured fuel depots. This situation exposed the limitation of Germany's logistical planning for such an extensive campaign. The Battle of Smolensk in July 1941 marked a turning point for Hoth's forces. While initially successful in encircling large Soviet formations, the prolonged nature of the battle began to wear down the 3rd Panzer Group. The Soviet resistance proved more determined than anticipated, foreshadowing the challenges that lay ahead. As summer turned to autumn, the German advances slowed considerably. By September 1941, constant combat had reduced Hoth's tank strength to approximately 250 tanks, less than half its initial size. The harsh realities of a prolonged conflict on the Eastern Front became increasingly apparent, challenging the German High Command's strategic assumptions. As the situation deteriorated, darker aspects of the campaign emerged. Hurt's 3rd Panzer Group became involved in implementing the Commissar Order. The Commissar Order was issued by Hitler in June 1941, and it marked a grim turning point in the war on the Eastern Front. The directive called for the immediate execution of Soviet political officers captured by German forces. Hermann Hoth, as commander of the 3rd Panzer Group, played a significant role in implementing this and other criminal orders during Operation Barbarossa. Evidence of war crimes committed by units under Hoth's command soon emerged. His forces were implicated in the widespread execution of prisoners of war and civilians, particularly during the early stages of the invasion. A German soldier's diary entry described a mass shooting of civilians in a village near Minsk, stating, "The screams of women and children still haunt me." Hoth's orders included directives for the immediate and pitiless extermination of any signs of resistance from what he termed Jewish Bolshevik agitators. When questioned about these actions, Hoth attempted to justify his compliance with the Commissar Order. He stated that he believed Soviet political commissars could not be regarded as regular soldiers, which in his view justified their execution. Hoth's forces operated in conjunction with the Einsatzgruppen, operating in the rear areas of the advancing German army. As the conflict progressed, the consequences of these brutal tactics became apparent. The execution of commissars and civilians, far from suppressing resistance, fueled Soviet determination to fight against the German invaders. The atrocities committed by Hoth's forces and other German units hardened Soviet attitudes, making surrender less likely and prolonging the war. The impact on German morale was also significant. While some soldiers embraced the Nazi regime's racist ideology, others were deeply troubled by the crimes they witnessed or were ordered to commit. A Wehrmacht corporal later testified, "We were told we were fighting for civilization, but what we did was barbaric." As the tide of the war began to turn against Germany, Hoth faced his greatest challenge yet. The Battle of Stalingrad loomed on the horizon, a confrontation that would test not only his military skills, but also the consequences of the brutal policies he had helped implement on the Eastern Front. In December 1942, Hoth led Operation Winter Storm, a critical mission to relieve the encircled German 6th Army at Stalingrad. The operation faced immediate challenges, with severe weather and Soviet resistance slowing the advance. The absence of the 17th Panzer Division left Hoth's forces under strength for the task. Despite these obstacles, Hoth pushed forward, concentrating his forces for a powerful thrust towards Stalingrad. The Soviets, having learned from previous defeats, stalled the German advance at Verkhnekunsky. This delay allowed Soviet forces to reinforce their positions, further complicating Hoth's mission. As Hoth's tanks approached Stalingrad, the Soviets launched Operation Little Saturn on December 16th. This offensive threatened the flanks of Army Group Don, forcing Hoth to divert resources and undermining his relief attempt. The German advance halted just 48 kilometers from the 6th Army's positions. Faced with mounting casualties and increasing Soviet pressure, Hoth had to make a difficult decision. Despite orders to continue, he ultimately retreated, unable to break through to the encircled forces. This failure sealed the fate of the 6th Army and marked a turning point on the Eastern Front. The consequences of Operation Winter Storm's failure were far-reaching. Hoth's 4th Panzer Army retreated 600 kilometers into eastern Ukraine. For Hoth, this failure signaled the decline of his military career. He found himself fighting an increasingly defensive war, struggling to contain Soviet advances. In November, the Soviets launched a surprise offensive that broke through Hoth's defenses, recapturing Kyiv and eventually driving the Germans out of eastern Ukraine. The loss of Kyiv was a major embarrassment for Hoth, who was subsequently blamed by Hitler for the defeat. Hoth was relieved of his command on December 10, 1943, and he eventually surrendered to the US Army on May 7, 1945. Hoth's trial at Nuremberg, specifically the High Command trial, revealed complex aspects of his wartime conduct. Unlike many other Nazi defendants, Hoth's defense strategy focused on technical military arguments rather than outright denial. He argued that his actions were within the bounds of acceptable military conduct, challenging the court's understanding of command responsibility. The prosecution presented evidence that went beyond previously discussed atrocities, including Hoth's role in the implementation of the Lebensraum policy in Eastern Europe. On October 27, 1948, Hoth was found guilty on 2 counts, implementing the Commissar Order and mistreating prisoners of war. However, after serving 7 years, Hoth was released on parole in 1954, with his sentence reduced to time served in 1957. He spent his last years in Goslar, Germany, where he focused on writing about his experiences during the war. These writings provided insight into his perspective on the war and his role in it, contributing to ongoing debates about military ethics and responsibility in times of conflict. Hermann Hoth's legacy reflects a stark contrast. His tactical innovations in armored warfare contributed to early German victories, but these are overshadowed by his involvement in war crimes on the Eastern Front. His enforcement of the Commissar order and tolerance of civilian atrocities exposed the consequences of unquestioning obedience to ideology and orders. Hoth's actions underline the need to assess military leaders beyond their battlefield achievements, emphasizing the ethical responsibilities of command, especially in conflict. His story illustrates that tactical skill does not absolve leaders of moral accountability in war. Well, that's it. Thank you for watching. We hope you found this video informative. If you enjoyed learning about today's topic, make sure to check out our other World War II videos. Don't forget to like it and subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on more World War II content. And we'll see you in the next one.